What's up, Foxes? So I was gonna put a full face of makeup on to film a 60-second intro, but I decided against it, so you get what you got. In this video, I wanted to share with you 3 super easy and delicious recipes that have kale in them. So a lot of people don't like kale, and I totally understand it. I didn't like it either, but I didn't know how to make it. So yeah, I wanted to share a couple of my tips and tricks on how to make kale taste a little bit more scrumptious, and these recipes are freaking delicious. I don't care who you are. Whether you're vegan or not, you can definitely enjoy these recipes, and they will give you plenty of protein and plenty of nutrients without all the cholesterol. You know what I'm saying? If you enjoy these recipes, make sure you smash that like button and make sure you subscribe for new videos here every week. Usually it's like recipes or workouts or what have you. You can also follow me on the Instagram at Foxy Fitness. Excuse me. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Now let's get into the recipes. This first recipe is a super easy tofu scramble for breakfast. First things first, we're going to open up our tofu. I usually buy extra firm because it seems to have more protein, but to make a scrambled egg consistency, I opt for the firm. And in order to get most of the moisture out of our tofu, I'm just wrapping it up in a towel and putting a pan over it and letting it just kind of sit there for 10 to 15 minutes. The next step, I'm just, as you can see, cutting up some veggies that I want to toss into the scramble. So we have here a red bell pepper, and I'm going to also be adding 1/2 of a yellow onion as well as a handful of mushrooms. I've actually stopped cooking with oil, so I just put enough water at the bottom of the pan so that the veggies don't burn. And I'm just adding in my bell pepper and onions as well as my mushrooms. Then I'm just crumbling up some tofu with my hands. I use probably about half of the whole block itself. But yeah, I'm just kind of crumbling it down. I'm sure you can use like a fork or something, but I don't mind the mess. Once the veggies have been cooking for around 5 to 6 minutes, I'm adding the tofu and cooking it for another 5 minutes, or at least until the tofu starts to kind of change colors or brown a little bit. And to add a little more protein, magnesium, as well as vitamin C and A, and among other things, I'm just throwing in about 1/2 cup of kale, give or take. In the scramble, I think that not enough people enjoy kale. You can definitely make it to where it tastes just fine and kind of sneak it into your dishes, and I think it's a good idea to eat as many vegetables as you can earlier in the day. Yeah, it just helps fuel your day a little bit better. And of course, I sprinkled some pink salt, pepper, and garlic powder on top, and you can't forget the salsa. You can also add, I didn't show it here in this video, but you can also add avocado for some healthy fats early in the morning. This next recipe is so simple, I'm not sure it can be considered a recipe, but it is considered delicious and possibly my favorite go-to meal for lunch. I went ahead and cut up the other 1/2 of that yellow onion as well as 3 garlic cloves. I just picked up this box of long grain and wild rice, but you can obviously use whatever rice you prefer. While that's going on, I'm using the same water trick and throwing in the garlic and letting that cook for a little bit before I add in the onions. Once they've cooked for probably 5 minutes or so, I'm just pouring in the black beans, which have been rinsed and drained. I'm just seasoning them with pink salt, chili powder, as well as black pepper. And you totally don't have to, but I'm just kind of smushing the beans around just to kind of get a particular consistency that I was looking for, but you know, to each their own. I'm also going to be adding a few squeezes of lime juice. I probably used about a whole half of a lime. And I'm also going to be adding some cilantro, which is a really good source of iron, calcium, and potassium, just to name a few. It's also known for its healing properties. It basically helps pull out heavy metals out of the body, so eat your cilantro. There's really nothing worse than chewy kale. When you don't know how to prepare it correctly, it doesn't really taste all that great. I like to give it a really good massage to soften up the texture, and you can also marinate it with lime or lemon juice to kind of amp up the flavor. But yeah, I just kind of ate the kale as a side, but you can obviously mix the kale in with the rice and beans to make into burritos or whatever your jam is. The last meal was supposed to be a chickpea sweet potato stew situation, but I didn't quite have enough broth, so feel free to add more broth to make it a little more soupy. But surprise, I cut up 3 garlic cloves, 1/4 of an onion, as well as 2 sweet potatoes this time. I threw the onions and garlic in first and added some black pepper and let them just cook for 3 minutes. Then I added the sweet potatoes and let them continue to cook for another 5 minutes or so. And I went ahead and poured in the lonely 3 cups of broth that I had, as well as 1 to 2 tablespoons of agave. I didn't measure, and I guess you could add water to this too to make it more soupy. But then I added 1 can of rinsed and drained chickpeas, as well as 1 cup of frozen peas, 3 to 4 cups of kale, again didn't really measure, and I also threw in 1 cup of unsweetened coconut milk. And I just kind of let all that cook and simmer and get nice and delicious for the next 15 to 20 minutes. And meanwhile, I cooked 1 cup of brown rice. And there you have it, you guys. 3 kale recipes that do not absolutely suck. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you give these a try because they are actually really delicious. Make sure you subscribe and give this video a thumbs up, and I will catch you guys next week. Bye now.